What is it about true crime that has many captivated in indulging in the darkest crimes committed by individuals? From infamous serial killers, missing persons, to unsolved mysteries. However, in this case, we delve into the dangerous extremes of an individual who idolized serial killers and took it too far. 17th July, 2022. Vicky Batup received an unexpected video call from her friend, Shaye Groves. Her heart dropped due to Shaye's chilling confession. She told her friend she had just slit the throat of her boyfriend Frankie Fitzgerald and that she stabbed him multiple times. Undoubtedly, Vicky was shocked, confused, and terrified of what she had just heard. But Shaye seemed eerily calm. Disturbingly, Shaye pointed the camera at the lifeless body and said she was going to clean up and bury the body in her back garden. Without hesitation, Vicky decided to notify the police. Shaye Groves was a 20-year-old single mother from Lee Park, England. She was described as someone who had a rough past, with an odd fascination with true crime. Due to her troubled upbringing, she endured mental health conditions such as PTSD, bipolar disorder, and had a history of self-harm. Despite all this, she presented herself as a loving, caring mother, and often shared snaps of her and her daughter. It all appeared to be a normal and healthy relationship. But things took a dark turn. 2020. Shaye's fascination with true crime became abnormal. She explored deeper into the twisted minds of serial killers, spending hours watching documentaries and reading books about the criminal underworld. This led to her changing her appearance with piercings and tattoos. Although all these changes were happening with her physically and mentally, the love for her daughter didn't change. She continued to post her and her daughter on social media, promising to always be there to guide her through the ups and downs of life. The pair lived with Shaye's friend, Lauren White, and her young daughter on Botley Drive in Hampshire. This is where Shaye's obsession with serial killers was more apparent. Collecting knives, Viking axes, daggers, but not only that, she would have framed pictures of infamous killers such as Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer. The room portrayed an eerie feel and showed how her mental state was. This wasn't the only thing. Shaye's sexual preferences was influenced by the dark mindset. She met a man called Frankie Fitzgerald, who was a 25-year-old from Portsmouth. He was described as a kind and loving man with a great sense of humor. With his well-timed jokes, he was able to diffuse tension and was almost impossible to argue with. However, when Frankie and Shaye got together, the relationship was on and off for around 6 months. Their exploration of unconventional sexual preferences was one of the things that kept them together, with their mutual interest in kink, which fueled a bond between them. The pair enjoyed BDM, roleplay, and knife play. Frankie even had written permission from Shaye to wake her up through sexual intercourse from the date March 22nd, until further notice. Which was unusual but shows the depths of their obsession and boundaries of exploration. 17th July 2022. Around 5 a.m., Shaye sent a text message to her friend Vicky, telling her that she has broken up with Frankie. This time she was certain it was over, and she told Vicky he had stormed out the house. Shortly after, she called her on FaceTime, and despite the breakup, Vicky said she seemed in good spirits. The energy of the call suddenly shifted. Shaye told Vicky she needed to show her something, but made her promise not to tell anyone. After some back and forth, Vicky agreed. Shaye turned the camera and showed Vicky the lifeless body of Frankie Fitzgerald laying on trash bags and covered in a duvet. His body was covered in stab wounds, and Shaye moved her camera to show the slit across his throat. Shaye went on to tell Vicky that she had a heated argument the previous night with Frankie over one of her ex-partners, and they went to bed angry. During the night, she woke up, went through his phone, and discovered inappropriate messages between him and a 13-year-old girl. She said this pushed her over the edge, and she grabbed her dagger, stabbing Frankie 17 times in a rage whilst he was sleeping. Disturbingly, while she was telling Vicky about the incident, she continued to clean up the scene without showing any signs of distress, and smirked and laughed during the conversation. Shaye went on to say she planned to bury Frankie's body in her garden after cleaning up, in the hopes people would assume he had just run off after their breakup and taken his own life due to depression he had struggled with in the past. Shockingly, she admitted to already making up an alibi with the text to Vicky at 5 a.m. saying he had run off, which would essentially cover up any suspicions. It was an elaborate plan, but Vicky knew she couldn't keep silent about what she had witnessed and just been told. Immediately after the FaceTime ended, Vicky called the police. Around 8 a.m., police arrived at Shaye's residence. The pungent smell of bleach and cleaning products were apparent when she opened the door.
Don't close the door. What's going on? What's going on? With what? Are you Shaye?
I am Shaye.
Right. I had some kind of strange, interesting call about somebody having had their throat slit.
Okay.
So what's going on here?
No, that's my dogs, yeah.
You're under arrest on suspicion of murder. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which you later rely on in court, and if you do say may be given evidence. The necessity for your arrest is for a prompt and effective investigation.
Investigations began. The grisly truth of the horrific crime started to unfold. A post-mortem was done, and the brutal extent of violence was exposed. 17 stab wounds to the chest area and some to the neck. Shaye and her flatmate Lauren were taken into custody on suspicion of murder. However, it became clear that the evidence was weak against Lauren, and she was only charged with failing to provide the password to her phone, which was later dismissed. 21st July 2022. Shaye was officially charged. January 2023. The trial began. Due to her obsession with true crime, it became apparent Shaye had become knowledgeable in crime scene management. She knew how to clean up, remove any evidence, and establish an alibi. The prosecutor painted Shaye as an possessive girlfriend who killed her boyfriend in a cold-blooded attack after allegations of cheating. They went on to say how she showed no remorse by calling her friend and showing the body. It also came out that she had planted a video camera in the bedroom and had edited video clips of her wild sexual encounters with Frankie to make it appear he was assaulting her. A disturbing display of deception and manipulation. Vicky testified, saying Shaye used similar tactics in the past, blackmailing her previous partners. When investigators went through her phone, they found she had invited another man over, whilst Frankie's body lay lifeless. Another move to solidify an alibi. In her defense, she stated she lost control after she discovered he was messaging a 13-year-old girl online. She said she woke him up, enraged, and threatened to leak videos of him allegedly assaulting her. Frankie became angry and grabbed her throat, leading her to be scared. At this point, she said she was fearing for her life and grabbed the closest object and stabbed him in the neck. When she realized what she had done and he wasn't going to survive, that's when she stabbed him more times. She went on to tell the court how he was violent and often crossed the line during their sexual encounters, presenting messages of him saying he would hang her if she cheated. When asked about the pictures on her wall, she said it was art. She went on to tell the court she was a pagan, and the dagger used was intended for her rituals to strengthen her spiritual connections. Investigators found the female Frankie was talking to was actually 17 years old and not 13, and he had not entertained it, but in fact blocked her. 17th February 2023. 11 hours of deliberation. The jury of Winchester Crown Court unanimously found Shaye Groves guilty of murder. She was sentenced to life with a minimum of 23 years. A close friend of Groves from childhood has spoken anonymously about the warning signs of Groves, who nicknamed her childhood friend Lauren White, Chucky, after murdering a doll she says was always quite strange. She said, "We used to hang out. Shaye was quite strange. She was unique, the way she dressed, what she was into. She used to like Chucky dolls and was interested in them.